Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by CultureInner3316. Originally posted by PositiveRest6444, posted to r/GirlDinnerDiaries, June 6, 2026. Boyfriend of 5 years broke up with me over text while living in the same house. Disclaimer, this is a lot to read, but it's worth it, and had to post again. 2 days ago, I got a text from my boyfriend, well, now ex-boyfriend, who was upstairs in his room, by the way, that said, "I'm done." Followed with, "Should I find a new place to live?" Okay. What? Let me tell you, I was confused. Me being in the headspace I was begging him to have a conversation with me in person about this. All I wanted was for him to open his door and let me know what even happened. But this dude hid in his room and ignored every text I sent for over an hour. He finally answered and said, "I don't think we're compatible," along with, "I don't think this is working out for us anymore." Every message sent started with, "I don't think." Like, what? At this point, I'm sitting outside his door knocking because why am I being broken up with over text after 5 years? He proceeded to ignore me for another 30 minutes. His final text he sent me that night was, "I think I'm done and I'm not even trying to be an asshole." You know what? Fine. So I went to my mom's and sobbed. At my mom's place, I cried for a good 30 to 40 minutes, then I just stopped crying. I ended up being so mad over the situation. 5 years, and you broke up with me over text in the same house? My mom was just as confused as I was. I debated on staying at my mom's that night, but then decided I'm going to stay in the damn place I pay for too. I went back to our shared place and spent the night there. My friend ended up calling me and was just as dumbfounded as I was. She never liked him that much, but understood him and I's relationship dynamic. I think if she didn't call that night, I would have not felt the way I do now. She described our relationship in an outside view perspective, and oh my god, what have I been dealing with for so long? Now, I'm not saying I was perfect. I started fights sometimes and nagged over certain issues, and there was a point in our relationship I was on the fence whether I should break up with him, but I will divulge in the specifics later on in these paragraphs. The following day, we didn't speak at all. I had the whole place to myself while he was at work. I took that time to look for places for me to move into, thought more about our relationship, and just got even more pissed over the situation. Once he came home from work, he went straight into his room and turned on the shower at 7:40 p.m. This is an important detail. I texted him at 10:23 p.m. after being ignored all day that we need to have an in-person conversation tomorrow. His shower is still running 3 hours later, and he ignored me the rest of the night. Yesterday morning, I went downstairs to my kitchen and waited for him to come downstairs before he went to work so I could confront him about ignoring me. I stood in the kitchen for about 15 minutes before he came down. I said, "Why have you been ignoring me?" in a nice tone, despite how I was feeling. Yet I was met with such attitude from him. He said, "I have to go to work, bro. I don't have time for this." Understandable. He had to go to work. I wasn't expecting him to have that conversation with me right then and there, but the attitude? You broke up with me over text, bro. Why do you have an attitude with me? That pissed me off the next couple hours, so I took that annoyance and found myself a 1-bed, 1-bath in the same complex we're living in right now. Just because I love the area, it's nice and quiet, and I wouldn't have to move far. I obviously would prefer to move out of this town, but nothing is available for a decent price nowadays. I also ended up writing a text that I would send to him if he couldn't speak to me face to face that night. And then I just waited. He gets off at 7:10, 7:20 every day. He didn't come back until 9:40. Immediately, he got home and turned on the shower. I waited an hour to text him if we could talk after his shower. Shower is still currently running. This was the text chain Verbatim. Him. I can't. Should I find a new place to live? Me. We need to have this conversation in person. Him. No, we don't. I can't. What do you mean you can't? I just can't. I don't have the heart to. You have to get over that and do it anyway. I don't want to have this conversation over text. There's nothing to talk about. Do I need to find a new place to live? Yes, there is. We need to figure out what's happening with this place. You at least owe me that right now. Once we figure that out, we don't have to speak again. What do you mean? What does talking in person have to do with anything? What do you mean I owe you? This was your doing. My doing? You're the one who broke up with me over text. Anyway, I responded. An in-person conversation about what's happening to our place. What does that change and what does that mean? What is happening to the place? That's what we need to talk about. That's all I'm asking. What does that mean? What can't be talked about over text or me just texting the property people? I'm not talking in person. I literally can't. Are you serious? You can. This is a conversation that needs to be talked about in person so we can figure out a plan. I just can't. This is the best for both of us. This is what you wanted for a while. I'm not asking for you back or to stay together. I'm solely talking about what the plan is. Can we end things on a good note and figure out a plan? It's not on a bad note. There's no difference between talking over text. What is there to even talk about with the place? You can just text me it. You've been ignoring me for over a day. I'd rather this just be in person. There's no difference. I'm not talking tonight. I have a headache and I'm stressed. Seriously, I asked yesterday to have this conversation. Yeah, I just can't. When can you? I don't know. What needs to be talked about in person? Oh my. Okay, this is ridiculous right now. I'm going to find my own place. Something is available next month that I am going to get. So, either you stay here and I find someone to live with you, or you pay for this place on your own if you want to live by yourself. There's more stuff regarding the lease that would be easier to talk about in person. I can't talk in person and I know it's ridiculous. So, I need to know the plan. I'll pay for this place myself until the lease is up. Okay. To start off, I am thankful he's willing to pay for this place himself until the lease is up. That takes a lot of stress off me. It's a very kind thing to do, and I appreciate him for that, but to not be able to have a face-to-face conversation with me after 5 years of being together, that is so disrespectful. Now, let me tell you all I've done for this man. He's not a clean person, even before we lived together. I would have to pick up his room at his mom's place because he wouldn't do it by his own will. His trash can is the floor under his desk. He would throw his trash on the floor and leave it there for weeks, enough to the point where it piled up almost to the height of his desk. I gave him trash bags to incentivize him to throw it away, but somehow that trash bag ended up in a random corner of his room. His dirty laundry is always all over the floor. I even gave him one of my extra large laundry baskets to help him out, but clearly that never worked. He would sleep on his mattress without sheets for weeks if I didn't make his bed. One day, I spent over 9 hours doing all of his laundry and putting it away for him, reorganizing his drawers, his closet, where he keeps his towels, and not even a week later, it was back to how it was before. I have had to scrub his toilet, shower, sink, and floor because somehow there was pee everywhere. Back to the shower point, he would run his shower for hours, enough to where the paint has completely peeled in his bathroom from all the moisture. He would fall asleep on the toilet or bathroom floor. No matter how many times I told him to not run the shower for that long, he still did it anyway. Now, before I go further, I have OCD. I'm a very neat person. I'm not perfect. I sometimes leave a pile of clean clothes on my floor that I'm too lazy to put away for about a week, or have empty Monster cans on my desk. Sometimes I don't do the dishes for about a week because I forget about them. but I always end up cleaning it without being told. I spent the past year and a half of my life cleaning up after him, trying to help him manage his money better and get him into good habits. I was his mommy. Yes, he took care of me financially, but you're a grown adult. I shouldn't have to tell you to clean your room. I have 2 cats. Why would I want them to possibly get into the trash on your floor and get sick? One time I went on vacation for a week. I came back to the place smelling like shit. Why? Because since I wasn't there was an insane amount of trash on his floor, smelling up the entire place. This led to me not wanting my mom to ever come over. She came to our place maybe 2 times out of the year and a half I was living there. My mom is my best friend. We have a very close relationship. The fact I was too embarrassed to have her over tells me a lot. Despite the cleanliness situation, he would never spend time with me. There was a point in time for about 3 to 4 months where he was never home until late at night, getting high with his friends, and then hopping on games with them right when he got back. I game a lot, so I have no issue with the fact that he would play games. It's just that he would never make time to play with me. He would spend maybe 5 minutes with me in total every day. It was absolute hell. I would tell him about it, and it was a fight every time. During that period, we didn't ever have sex. And his excuse was, my friend and his girlfriend haven't had sex in a year. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I your friend? Am I his girlfriend? No, I'm not. So I'm not even sure how that correlates. Now, I'm not putting the blame all on him for the duration of our relationship. I dealt with a lot of stuff for so long that there was always resentment and issues. During the time he wouldn't spend time with me, I picked fights just so I could get an ounce of attention, even if it was negative. I sometimes wouldn't speak to him for a whole day because I was annoyed I had to clean his room for him. There are plenty of things I did wrong, but I believe it all comes from a place of reason, whether he sees it or not. Another thing was promises. I told him when we first got together that promises and pinky promises are held to the highest standard with me. If you promise me something, you have to follow through with it. If you can't do that, then don't promise me. He would break promises constantly. He would promise me he'd clean his room or take out the trash or not take my drinks or food. In the past year, he hasn't kept a single promise other than taking care of the cats when I'm gone. I slowly started to lose trust in his word. He would tell me things I wanted to hear, then never act upon them. I shouldn't have to remind you for 5 days in a row to clean the trash off your floor after you promised me it would get done the first night. Or I shouldn't have to hide my drinks and food in my room just so you don't eat them in one night after promising you wouldn't do so. From the broken promises became lies. He would lie over little things like getting high or ordering food at night when we both promised we would eat better. He would shove DoorDash bags under his bed and they would mold. And the ones that weren't old, he would convince me that they were from so long ago, when the receipt would show it was ordered last night or the day before. I have never lied to him in my life, let alone broke a promise. I was never taken on dates. He never truly wanted to spend time with me. Disregarding the past 2 months of our relationship, he spent more time with me towards the end. That's why this whole thing surprised me. He never just planned anything for us to do. Most of our relationship living together was me helping him be a clean person, being disregarded and left alone. I take this as a big win. This is not what I deserve. I don't deserve to be broken up with over text while he's in the other room. I don't deserve someone who can't have a face-to-face conversation with me after the fact. And I deserve someone who wants to spend time with me without me having to beg for it. I thought I would be more sad over the whole thing, but I honestly just feel relief. My little snack, an acai bowl with mango, honey, and granola in Hawaii. Update. June 18th, 2026, 12 days later. So, this is my little 2-week update after all this went down. Since that night, he has not spoken to me since. It's mostly him hiding out in his room whenever he gets off work or on his day off. I've reached out to him over text for housing-related questions because, well, there needs to be some sort of communication. When I reached out, the question from him followed, "Are you 100% sure you're done?" Along with, "Is this what you really want?" Yes, this is what I want and need. You can't break up with me, ignore me for 2 weeks, and expect me to get back with you. With that, I found myself a place. It's a nice little 1-bed, 1-bath with my own balcony. I move in at the end of the month. I am so excited to be able to be on my own, in my own space, clean space, and be able to invite whoever I want over without feeling ashamed. I have reconnected with people these past 2 weeks and made some new friends as well. I've never been better. I'm actively looking for a job at a vet clinic to help further my career. I have the motivation and confidence to do things now because I'm on my own. I was so dependent for so long that this is all so exciting for me. I'm doing things I never thought I would do. My skin has never been clearer. Most of my anxiety went away. My hair isn't falling out as much anymore. I have truly never been better. I'm not settling for anyone anymore. I know what I want and how I want to be treated. I fucking love life. And for my girl dinner, scallops. So, while I'm certainly no expert, there are definitely a lot of signs of him swinging in and out of depressive episodes and it just dragging everyone down with him. The multiple hour-long showers, him just letting his area go into disarray, him being incapable of confrontation, him feeling like this is what you wanted, so here's the breakup, are you sure this is what you want? Just a lot of the language in his behavior makes me wonder if he just fell really deep into a depressive episode, sent the breakup text, and then just couldn't face her afterwards. This, coupled with just his general treatment of the relationship and his other not-so-clean habits, well, for one, I don't think that he should be in a relationship. I think he needs to work on and rebuild himself. And for two, if you ever find yourself in a position where you're actively starting fights with your partner just to get their attention, that's a good sign that maybe you should just walk away from that relationship. At that point, it's over. Having to start fights just to get basic attention? Yeah, no, it's done. I hope both of them are able to get on their feet here. I hope the ex-boyfriend is able to get himself out of his rut and build himself up better, because damn does he need some serious self-care and self-improvement. And hopefully OP is able to continue on her path and maybe even find someone who actually respects her and is willing to be an equal partner in whatever future relationship she finds. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Nearby Comfortable 79, posted to r/am_I_the_asshole December 9th, 2023. Am I the asshole for walking out of a dinner after being accused of supporting incest? Hey, I'm posting on here because I need people's opinions on this. It's so fucking stupid and such a non-issue, unless I'm wrong about that too, that turned into something bigger. For reference, this happened on Thursday evening. We're all in our early 20s, and all names are fake. Thursday was our friend Sarah's birthday. To celebrate, our friend group decided to go out for dinner. There were about 10 of us. Everyone was in a good mood, and it was really nice to just talk to everybody about whatever for hours, especially since I kind of had a stressful week. Hours into the dinner, we landed on the topic of movies and TV shows that we were watching. Our friend Amy mentioned a show that I had also watched. As soon as she brought it up, I said that I really liked the show, and that the acting, writing, and directing was top-notch. Mary chimed in and said that she really didn't like the show, and how she had been watching other things. Cool. To each their own. Mary then asked how I felt about the main romantic pairing in the show. I responded that I liked it, and that the romance was cute. This is where the drama started. For context, I don't want to get too much into it because it might be confusing, but basically, the main romantic pairing is between the male lead and the female lead. There are some people who have interpreted that these characters to be related to each other. I do not. But I know that people are free to think whatever they want, and honestly thought that this topic was harmless. Well, I was wrong. Mary took offense to me saying that I liked the romance. She asked if I supported incest. I said of course not, as the characters are not related. She said that they are related, and that me supporting their pairing is supporting incest. Mary then said that I should educate myself before saying stupid shit. I was dumbfounded and thought she was joking, but She was really angry with me about this. She told me to rethink my values because supporting incest makes me a horrible person. I told her she was making harmful accusations over a TV show. Our other friends were telling her to stop, including Sarah. But she kept claiming that I was a disgusting incest supporter. She then claimed I was homophobic since the male lead is bisexual but still ended up with a woman. Mary just wouldn't stop saying shit like this. So here's where I may be the asshole. I left Sarah's dinner. My friends were asking me to stay, but I felt uncomfortable, so I paid for what I ordered and left. Many of my friends reached out to me on Friday to ask if I was okay. Some of them, while they understood why I was upset, said that it was wrong of me to leave Sarah's birthday dinner and that I should have just ignored what Mary was saying and stuck around. I feel like they may be right in that I may have ruined her birthday by getting up and leaving, but I felt like I couldn't stay because of Mary throwing accusations at me over something that doesn't matter. Verdict, not the asshole. Relevant comments. Haunted reader comments, not the asshole. And Mary seems like she takes things far too seriously. I'm super curious what the show is though. Do you mind sharing? OP responds, Loki? Damn, I was thinking like any Game of Thrones media or something along those lines, but Loki. For those of you who haven't seen it, Loki pretty much ends up falling in love with a variation of himself from a different timeline, who happens to be the female version of him. If anything, it's self-cessed, and I'm seeing below that if I just read the Haunted Reader's response, that would be covered. Haunted Reader. See, this doesn't even make sense with her argument. It wouldn't be incest because the two aren't related. They're literally different variants of the exact same person. It definitely falls on the weird side of things, but definitely doesn't count as incest. Also, I'm going to assume neither of you finished the series yet, so, I'm even more confused by this take. OP responds, I finished the series. I don't know about Mary. I know that they don't end up together, but the point is that even in Season 2, the implication is still there, but Mary was just upset that they were romantic in the first place. So, as another note, while I'm at it and interrupting, if you're expecting a bi person to end up with someone of the same sex just simply because they're bi, you are intrinsically erasing the bi aspect of their identity and thus being homophobic. Ah, Mary, you've fallen into my trap card, semantic homophobia! Now you get cancelled on Twitter! And by me. Anyways, top comments. User Mamigs. Mary is a clear asshole, there's no question here, and a very stupid asshole. If she thinks that bi people ending up in a relationship with someone of the opposite binary gender is homophobic, oh boy. God damn it, I should have just read the next comment. Clue! Half of the people that a typical bisexual person is attracted to are of the opposite gender. You might actually expect bi people to be in a relationship with someone of the opposite gender significantly more than half the time. If you're a bi man, then your set of possible partners are, for the sake of argument, and there's some simplification of sexuality here, gay men, bi women, and straight women. The largest of these groupings, by quite a long way, is the group of straight women, not the asshole. Also, you didn't close off one of your parentheses! Comment from Purple Mars Alien, not the asshole. Mary is acting weird. Attacking someone over fanish beliefs that are not part of current canon is being rather extra and over the top. And even if this eventually becomes part of canon, someone who likes the couple when it was not canon were not supporting incest. They would have been misled by the creators. Update, January 3rd, 2024, nearly 1 month later. Hi everyone. First, thank you all for your comments and advice on my last post. It's been about 4 weeks since the incident at the dinner, and I just wanted to give you guys an update if you're curious. First off, I just want to say that I have no hard feelings towards my friends who said that I should have stayed. I get me leaving was probably the best thing to do in that situation, but their intentions were purely good. To make sure that Sarah enjoyed her birthday dinner. I reached out to Sarah and apologized for what happened, and for me leaving so abruptly. She said that I didn't need to apologize, and said that all was good between us. I took her out for drinks. We had a great time. Now, on to Mary. Since the dinner, I've been texting and calling her just to talk about what happened. So far, she has either ignored my texts and calls, or given me very short responses, either telling me she doesn't want to talk to me or that she's busy. Sarah told me that she also reached out to Mary, and while she was actually willing to talk to Sarah, the conversation pretty much went nowhere. Amy also reached out to her, and like many of you were wondering, she asked her if she was a victim of incest. I mean, it would make sense based on her reaction. However, according to Mary herself, no, she wasn't. As far as I know, she isn't bisexual either, so it just seems she's throwing a tantrum over things that have nothing to do with her. Or it's possible that she's been spending too much time in online fandoms, but who knows? Out of curiosity, how many of you were involved in the Voltron fandom circa 2016? And the fucking disaster that was. I think that was one of my first times actually witnessing a fandom just devolve into pure toxicity. The amount of times that I watched fanon, or fan canon, just become the de facto canon that was accepted by whatever current fan site that I was interacting with, Tumblr, and then promptly have other users skewered and publicly executed and mocked for not understanding or knowing fanon explanations for certain things, or by having a take or an opinion that was offensive or incongruent to the fanon explanation of events, was just fucking exhausting. And if you would prove them wrong, you would oftentimes get a, well, that doesn't matter, followed by just them tripling down. I almost wonder if Mary Googled her little explanation after dinner just to get like the deets and the facts so she could send a screenshot as a, see, told ya, only to learn she was completely wrong and is now isolating herself because she doesn't want to take accountability for causing this kind of mess. Like, it is one thing to want to debate the ethics and morality of a series. I mean, maybe not at your friend's birthday dinner, especially if it involves the topic of self-cest, but to instead out the gate go on the attack and be like, educate yourself, you don't know shit, especially when you're wrong, is just fucking embarrassing. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original LP is Cloudy Side 7, posted to r/2x chromosomes, June 25th, 2026. My dad ate my birthday cake. I've been seeing a lot of videos online about how men will weaponize food, and how it's seen as acceptable for men to eat up a lot of food, even if it means other people won't get any of it. That same situation happens a lot with my dad, but I guess I had assumed that since it was my birthday, I'd get some of my birthday cake. This happened about 2 weeks ago, but I'm still pissed off and really upset about it. I made a birthday cake for my birthday, which was 2 weeks ago. I had one slice of my cake the day of my birthday. Within 2 to 3 days, the cake was gone. My dad ate almost the entire cake and left the empty container in the fridge. I told him several times to slow down and even bluntly to stop eating it because he was going back for multiple slices a day. It was also in the fridge and later freezer, so it wouldn't go bad. I was pretty upset about it and tried to complain about it to my mom, but she yelled at me that I was a bad person for tempting him, and that it was rude and cruel of me to leave food in the fridge and not expect people to eat it. I never said he couldn't have cake, I just wanted to have my birthday cake. I don't know exactly what it is I'm feeling about this whole thing. Sadness and rage, I guess. I feel like I should be over it, but I keep getting reminded that I only got one small slice of my birthday cake before a grown man ate the entire rest of it. And it was a really good cake too. Sigh. I know I could just make another cake, but I'm still upset that I'll never get back at being my birthday cake. Does that make sense? I guess it's also the concept that I told him to stop and he still ate the cake. Also that he left the empty container in the fridge. Also, it was a fairly big cake. It's not something that should have been gone in 2 to 3 days considering it's just me and my parents. Guess I'm just venting, but also wondering, why is it acceptable for men to do this to their families, but women are the bad guys for getting upset about it? Why is it that it's okay for a man to eat almost his daughter's entire birthday cake, but she's the rude one for being upset about it? Edit to add, the reason I didn't eat the cake in those 2 to 3 days is because I was constantly out of the house and doing stuff. I went to get a piece on the evening of the 3rd day and saw the empty container in the fridge. The pieces I had put in the freezer were gone when I checked as well. There was none left. I didn't think I needed to force myself to eat the cake those days because I kept seeing the container in the fridge. Edit to add 2. To everyone saying cake goes bad after 2 to 3 days, the cake was in a container in the fridge. That makes it last longer. And a simple Google search will tell you that, generally speaking, cakes can last 5 to 7 days if stored properly. It was literally in a cake container, the kind they sell to keep cakes fresh longer. Edit to add number 3. I know I literally said it was a bit of a trend to see those stories posted around, but I'm actually still shocked about how many people have either a very similar or the exact same situation happen to them. And I will say, I know it's not all men. I have a primarily male friend group, so I definitely know that a majority of men are not like this. I was more so saying that this specific mentality only seems to be present in men, and that I never see women doing this. It's not all men, but it always seems to be a man. If I were a gambling man, which I'm not, I like being able to control my odds, I would say that your mom's probably an enabler. He probably only acts this way because he knows he'll get away with it. Relevant comments. OP on the birthday tradition and cake. OP responds, quoting the previous commenter that was removed for brevity, "My dad loved ice cream cake. I loathed the ice cream cake." Honestly, my entire birthday was just this. I wanted a chocolate pistachio cake. He didn't. I ended up getting a vanilla cake, which he wanted. I didn't want any ice cream this year, and he complained. Then went out and bought himself an entire tub of sherbet so he could have ice cream since I didn't get any for him. In my family, the birthday person picks a place to eat on their birthday. I wanted Indian food. My dad hates Indian food, so that was out. I wanted Middle Eastern food as my second pick. He didn't, so that was now out. Eventually I said, let's go to the Cheesecake Factory, which he agreed to, but then complained about the whole time. In my family, birthday person also picks a movie, and family is supposed to all go see it. I picked Backrooms. He didn't want to see it, and since I refused to budge, he said he didn't want to come along, so I ended up seeing it by myself. Commenter 2. It's also a bit telling of your parents' attitude towards you that you had to bake your own birthday cake. OP responds, I had just wanted to buy a cake already made, but both of them threw a stink about it. My dad threw a fit because he didn't like the kind of cake I originally wanted, and my mom threw a fit because she doesn't like how store-bought cake tastes. So I just changed the flavor and made it myself to try and keep the peace. Commenter 3. The putting back the empty container baffles me. How old are your parents? As a mom, I'd never eat all of something before checking if everyone else had their share. I know my husband does the same. It's very upsetting when you're looking forward to food and later find that you can't have it because someone else ate it or even threw it away without asking you first. You're not just upset about the cake, but the inconsiderateness of it all. Don't feel bad for not getting over it because it's not just about the cake, but the idea that your dad didn't even think about your feelings when he ate all of it, knowing he had multiple slices and proceeded to take the last one and leave the container for you to find. I am so sorry. I hope he has the decency to buy you a new one or take you out to get a special slice at a nice bakery. Please know that you deserve to be treated with consideration, and I hope you have people in your life that'll do that for you, even if they're people you haven't met yet, but will be a part of your life in the future. OP responds, How old are your parents? Both are elder Gen X, born in the early 1970s. Your dad didn't even think about your feelings, but he ate all of it, knowing he had multiple slices and proceeded to take the last one and leaving the container for you to find. He left a bunch of frosting in the container, so I was literally digging through it to see if there was any actual cake left, and he yelled at me for that. I hope he has the decency to buy you a new one or take you out to get a special slice at a nice bakery. They won't. Neither of my parents will, because both say I'm being a greedy brat for being upset about this. Commenter 4. Sounds like you need your own fridge with a padlock. I have the same issue as my dad because men don't fucking think. They just go by their base emotions. In this case, I see food, I eat food. I talked to my dad and raised a stink and he stopped. If yours won't, then a mini fridge is a good option. OP responds, I asked for a mini fridge when my parents said no, sadly. I'm only here for the summer since I go to college the rest of the year. I've tried to talk to him about this. I've been polite. I've been firm. Hell, I've actually been mean about it just to try and get my point across. But he always screams at me and then gets my mom to lecture me about making a big deal out of nothing and tempting him with food. OP on her father and her birthday cake. He actually didn't even bother to show up for when I did blow out my candles. Didn't want to sing happy birthday or watch me blow out my candles, but could show up to eat my entire cake. Commenter 5. I'm sorry, he didn't like the cake you wanted on your birthday? I don't know if this is intentionally rage baiting us at this point because your parents are both behaving like total assholes. Big yikes also that your dad either has A, a binge eating disorder, B, zero self-control of his most basic impulses, or C, zero respect or consideration for you. Possibly more than one of these. Possibly I think you should bake another cake and tell them loudly and specifically not to eat it, as it's your replacement birthday cake. And spike it with surprise ghost chilies. Opie responds, I fully believe he has a binge eating disorder because he hoards fast food wrappers. It's not the first time he's stolen food from me. I got a box of protein bars for Christmas, it was a box of 12, and he ate them all and left the empty box in the pantry. Then screamed at me for being upset about it and asking him to replace them. I used to go to Crumble Cookies more often, and he would eat the cookies I bought with my own money. When I was still in school and buying snacks to bring with my lunch, he would eat the entire pack. My mom likes to make large portions of food so we can live off leftovers for the week. And he eats it all in a day or two. OP on getting a job to support herself. OP responds, they won't let me get a job while I'm under their roof. I have no savings, no friends that could take me in, no way to get money since I have no car and need their permission to leave the house and the town we live in. Did OP get to celebrate her birthday away from her parents? OP responds, I gotta go out with my friends, and there's a boy I like who wished me happy birthday, so that was nice. I got to see a movie the following weekend, so that was also nice. OP's background, white, deep South American. I assume that's deep South American and not South American, the continent. Commenter 6, your mom blamed you too for tempting him? If I were you, I'd literally make the most fattening, sugary, calorie-dense cake I could find a recipe for, and keep it stocked in the fridge for the rest of summer. Sorry, that's too petty, but I treat myself for my birthday too, so I get it. Opie responds, her exact words were, you just like to be mean and cruel. You leave food in the fridge that he likes and just expect him to not have any of it knowing he likes it, and then you throw a temper tantrum after tempting him with it? Commenter 7, let me guess, he doesn't ever cook or bake a damn thing. Opie responds, correct. When he does cook, he makes it how he likes it, which for him means no seasonings at all because according to him, it ruins food. Then yells at us if we don't like it or complain. I think a lot of people take for granted how much we actually have easy access to spices nowadays because, give or take 600 years ago, wars were fought over spice. It partially led to a massive push for colonization and exploration, just to have flavor on your plate. Update. 3 days later, June 28th, 2026. I got my cake! So, hello, I'm the girl who posted a few days ago about how my dad ate almost all of my birthday cake while I only got one slice. Things between my dad and I are still not really on good terms. He had a flip out on me the night of my post because he, the man who never cooks, was hovering over me while I was cooking and trying to micromanage everything I was doing. He was constantly opening the oven after I put my stuff in there and repositioning it, lecturing me about what seasonings I was using, asking me repeatedly if I was sure I knew what I was doing. I hate when people hover over me when I'm doing stuff, so this really bothered me. I calmly told him I didn't need help and that I could do it myself. He then went on a rant about how he was trying to educate and help me, and if he wasn't wanted, he would just leave. I repeated that I didn't need any help, and he proceeded to take the pot holders I was using and make a show of throwing them across the room before he stormed off. I told my mom and she just sighed and said that I probably caught a tone with him, even though I didn't. I admit that I can sometimes catch an attitude. I'm 19. I think I get a bit of a pass, lol. But I swear that this time when talking with him, I was calm and level-headed. I made a point of that when I was telling him I could handle the cooking. So yeah, dad is still a giant toddler and mom is still an enabler. Anyways, back to the actually good news and point of this post. Day of my post, I ended up borrowing the car later in the day and buying myself the cake I originally wanted for my birthday. It was a Walmart/market side cake, so nothing special or expensive. It was small, so it's all been eaten by now, lol, but oh my god, it was amazing. My mom didn't really care for it because it was store-bought and my dad outright refused to touch it. He complained about the flavor of the cake and also said he wasn't going to set me off by eating it. My mom did unfortunately make me go bring him a slice and apologize for making him feel that way, which my dad thought was hilarious. He ate the cake despite complaining about it. Go figure. So yeah, while this update isn't things getting better with either of my parents, especially not my dad, I did end up taking the suggestion of a lot of people and just went out and bought the cake I originally wanted. Edit to add, I also saw that my post was reposted to TikTok, so that was quite the surprise to be doom scrolling and then hear a Reddit story time of my own post. LOL. Well, you get another one here on the YouTube. It's narrated by a human instead of one of those. Today I found out my sister has a secret ant colony named Carl. Those monotone robotic pieces of shit. I can do something that you can't. See, that's the thing. Screeching and screaming in agony. Oh, wait a minute. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. It's really sad that your mother just accepts this kind of bullshit from him and thinks you should too. Does she not want men to treat you right? You don't need to keep contact with these people after you move out if it's not adding anything to your life. There's an r/raised by narcissists. I found it helpful when I left my shitty parents. My dad was an unemployed food thief as well. Opie responds, does she not want men to treat you right? I hate to pull the "it's just how things are in my family" card, but there's a lot of mean and toxic men in my family. My whole family is a bunch of addicts or untreated mental illness, and nobody talks about it outside of the "oh, we're all crazy, haha" joke. There was an incident where my mom set me up with a guy we dated for over a year, and he dumped me for not sleeping with him, and my mom was on his side at first, and wanted us to get back together. She eventually came around to my side, but it still hurt. Commenter 2. I'm so mad for you that you have to put up with this fucking bullshit. You deserve better than this. I'm glad you bought your own cake to make yourself happy, but holy shit. Everything else in your post just made me livid. Opie responds, yeah, I think I was just used to it during my teen years. Then I moved out for college and it's making everything affect me a lot more. It's like I got desensitized from my desensitization. Commenter 2. So, you said you're 19. Are you hopefully at your parents' house just for the summer? Opie responds, yep, just summers and the winter break when school makes us go back. Probably going to spend Thanksgiving, Easter, and Mardi Gras break at school. You get a Mardi Gras break? Huh. Commenter 3. Good for you. It's also good that you're clear on who your parents are. You can just observe your dad throwing his tantrum and your mom adjusting his pacifier, and keep a blank face. Save every dime you make in an account they can't touch and plot your escape. Living alone someday is going to be glorious. Opie responds, I can't wait to live on my own one day. I also can't wait to one day have my own kids and have them grow up in a house with parents that act like adults. I really hope for OP's sake that with time she's able to get out of this extremely toxic and controlling environment. I mean, eventually the parents of course are going to be posting on some forum later on of, why won't my kid talk to me? But that's a video for another day. You might have to ask yourself if these are people that you really want to keep in your life, if this kind of behavior is something that you want to tolerate or even have your boyfriend or your kids around. Do you really want your kids to see their grandpa getting away with a bunch of bullshit and acting less mature than they are on a regular basis? Then having to ask questions of, well, grandpa can do this, why can't I? Your mom probably enables his behavior out of appeasement and expects you to do the same when that's led to him just doing whatever the hell he wanted. So now, instead of your mom actually having an adult conversation with her husband, your father, he's been more relegated to just being some wild animal that just happens to wander around the house. Well, what did you say to provoke him? What did you do to upset him? Did you have a tone? Well, you can't just tempt him with delicious food like that. You're describing a fucking bear. And personally, the irony is not lost on me. OP, if you ever are in the position to go no contact with your parents and just cut them from your life, please, please, please let the last thing you ask your mom be is, how come we treat our father like he's a wild animal? One that's incapable of sentience? Then when she gets confused, just list off all the things she used to say. You know, the comparisons that make him akin to a bear. Hey, welcome to the outro. So, I actually just kind of want to bring up, because I brought up yesterday trying out the GamerSupps Melatonin AFK. For the first time last night, I actually got a sleep score on my little watch tracker thingamabob higher than 95. So, it's pretty cool going from like the 60s to like 95 after doing that for one night. Big fan of that. So if you want to give it a shot yourself, use code ODDS at checkout with GamerSupps. You get 10% off. And this is a product that I actually use. Which it sucks because like every YouTuber now says that with their sponsors, even though it may not be true. But like, this is one that if you watch me streaming, you will see me actually using it. And if you ask me about it on stream, I will talk about it. Because I really do actually enjoy this product. Also, as for like an update for the office, the tarps are laid down, the masking tape is out, your eyes has a paintbrush and God can't stop me! Anyways, I'll see y'all next time.